morning, Uganda. My name is Lydia Namaye, and I am part of the Women in People Power. We want to welcome you all back from the Hoima by-election that was a heated election and that was able to show the kind of democracy we have in this country. Today, as the Women of People Power, we have come to raise our voices high. First, on the concern of the verification exercise from the Electoral Commission. We appreciate the Electoral Commission for having been able to launch its roadmap in December 2018. And we actually want to appreciate them for having been able to continuously conduct their activities and follow the roadmap. But we are not actually contented and we're dissatisfied with a lot of key issues. First of all, there was lack of adequate voter education and public awareness about the conduct of the verification exercise at the village local councils. This ultimately violates the election management guidelines and as well as the right of information as given by the Constitution of Uganda. Secondly, the 1 week allocated for the verification exercise is not sufficient enough to accommodate all the people of Uganda who actually stay in the diaspora, the people who actually come from different hard-to-reach areas, and the people also who actually stay in the faraway places. So we actually see that this is a move for the government of Uganda to ensure that they actually leave out some people not being able to go out and verify their names because the time that is given up is actually very limited. So the Ugandans in the diaspora as well may not be adequately able to manage to go and verify their names because the 1 week actually given out is very little. And because 78% of Ugandans are young people, 48% of these are actually children who are in schools. Some of these are actually in secondary schools, while others are in the university schools, in the university and higher levels of higher institutional planning. So the process that comes up to actually verify the register has come up at a time when children are actually doing the UCE exams, senior 4 exams, while others are also preparing to go ahead and do the primary 7 exams and senior 6 exams. That means that the 1 week given to this exercise is going to leave out the very many young people who are in schools not to be able to participate in this exercise. The other people, young people who are actually employed by some organizations, by some other who are actually public servants, and some other people who are employed by individuals, may not be able to request for a day off to go out there in the 1 week's time to actually verify their names on the register. What does this imply? This implies that there is lack of fairness and ensuring inclusion and consideration for all these kinds of people to go out and check their names on the register. What is our call as the people of Uganda? We call upon the women of Uganda, the people power coordinators and supporters to go and actually mobilize them to go and check their names on the registers. We also call upon the government of Uganda and the Electoral Commission to accept and actually adjust the time to which they are going to do the verification exercise from 1 week to at least 1 month. Because we are sure, but at least the 1 month will be able to accommodate the people who are working, the children who are in schools, the people who are employed by other people, and also the young people out there who are in institutions of higher learning. We also call upon the Electoral Commission to continuously conduct public awareness and also sensitization of the people to engage on all the activities before they go out and roll out to actually conduct these activities. On the hiking of the fees, I want to add my voice and say that first of all, when the government of Uganda comes out to raise an issue of raising the nomination fees of the members of parliament from 3 million shillings to 10 million shillings, first of all, it prevents a free and fair election. A free and fair election should be able to start from the nomination and the pre-electoral period, the pre-electoral process. Whenever the government of Uganda comes up to pass a law that is actually going to limit the probable qualified candidates who would have been able to be good leaders by limiting them not to actually go ahead to engage in the nomination process, that means that the election will start from the nomination process and Ugandans will be doubting whether it will be a free and fair election because of the hiking of the nomination fees. Secondly, it is illegal, null and void. The 1995 Constitution of Uganda provides for all Ugandans having a right to participate in a free and fair election. All Ugandans have a right to participate in the civic affairs and the political participation of their country. By putting up a hiked fee for either a presidential candidate or a parliamentary candidate, this implies that you're actually delimiting the rights of Ugandans to participate in this election by putting up a high nomination fee. And then lastly, this actually promotes commercialization of politics in Uganda. I want to make it very clear Leadership in Uganda is not a business. If somebody wants to look at how much money you are, he should be able to go out in Chukubo or in a business elsewhere to become a businessman in this country. Leadership in Uganda is a service. It's about ideas. It's about delivery. It's about prioritizing the people of Uganda. When the government of Uganda through the Electoral Commission comes out to actually say the president should come out with 100 million, and also the members of parliament to come out with actually 10 million, this is actually transmitting leadership from moving out from service delivery to becoming a business. In other words, the rich people who have the money are those who are going to get into leadership. And the constitution is very clear. It doesn't matter whether you are rich or poor, you are free to engage in a leadership process, including standing as a candidate for both parliamentary and the presidential levels. Lastly, we are actually saying that this hiking of the nomination fees affects service delivery, and it will actually also affect the legislative process. We have seen members of parliament today who are called into parliament because they put in a lot of money to go and bring out their money. So in other words, they were buying voters and bribing them to invest in the election to go and make money in parliament. If the government of Uganda comes out and approves this amendment or the proposal, that will mean that we are going to be continuously seeing many bad laws coming up in Uganda. We are going to continuously see many Ugandans dying in health services because of lack of drugs, because the members of parliament are not actually lobbying for service delivery in terms of education, health, in the budget and planning, but they're actually lobbying to how much money are they going to get out to bring up what they actually called up here and there. We call upon the government of Uganda to ensure that they do not tamper to pass this proposal, because if they do, it is going to start with us, the people, the members of the people power, to mobilize the citizens of Uganda to come out and reject this, to come out and refuse this proposal, and also we want to call upon the members of parliament to first of all reject this proposal, because we know it will still come to parliament, and when it comes, it is not going to affect only us, the young people who want to actually stand in the legislative positions, but it's also going to affect them who are actually in this parliament. They swear in the constitution and say they will protect this constitution. If they think they are actually standing for the people, we want to see the members of parliament stand for the pro-people laws that are being passed. We lastly call upon the government of Uganda to ensure that they adjust the time that is supposed to be put up to verify the names on the register. We also call upon Ugandans to go out and check the right spelling of your names, to check whether your name is on the verification exercise, no matter whether you have a national ID or not. Even if you have a national ID, all Ugandans, please go out and check your name on the register. Thank you.
So we shall entertain questions from you, the media, and if anyone has something, a different language, I'm going to speak the language. They can also communicate. Questions from the media.
Doesn't it going to say we are already agreed with this kind of law?
No. Thank you very much, Mr. Okondo. I think I want to make myself very clear on that. I didn't say that we are going to agree, or we have agreed that Bobby Wine is going to pay the 100 millions for nominations, or the MPs are going to pay the 10 millions for nominations. But you know, in Uganda, anything can happen. Anything can happen. These men can wake up and insist that Kyagulanyi has to pay, all the presidential candidates have to pay 100 millions for nominations. Then the MPs have to pay 10 millions.
I was suggesting we resist this kind of law.
And we don't want it. But I'm telling you, let me tell you something. I am not interested in it. Not even the women in people power are interested in it. But anything can happen in Uganda. We can't take it for granted. So in case it happens, we shall have to mobilize the Ugandans, and then we'll raise that money for our president.
Okay, it's okay that first of all, I just want to make clarity. We are not accepting, we are not proposing that this is passed. No. We are rejecting the 100 million and the 10 million for the members of parliament. And we are not even thinking about it. So let us not even start thinking on what happens if it passes. Because Ugandans and all of us here are going to rally everyone possible, and we shall meet all the stakeholders required to ensure that this does not come into it. Thank you very much. This gentleman had a question before I come this side.
Okay, thank you. Sigenda kubuuza ku nsonga eno kubanga ebya kino I'm satisfied with the conference. Now, I want you to comment on this. Bobi Wine is an enemy of progress.
Okay, thank you. I will comment on that. I have noted it. Salongo.
Neyanziza nze decent sekuja saba kubuuza Madam Zulaika red ballets baziwera naye tulaba abasinga ku muzambadde ate waliwo bangi be bakwate wabweru kikye muteeseteese era kyekiriwo.
Okay, and finally, or if there is another question, Uchachi so ekyo bukadde 10 in case of what? Oh, in case it passes. Yeah, we shall give someone a restitution and the legalities. Yeah. Okay, so we shall give those legal implications as well. Studied? Yeah. Kale, did notice this? Kale, so Kempite, our lawyer, Shamim, asoka to them legalities is in case it passes. Shamim, where are you? Okay, Jambu one, Farida Jambu.
Chuka eggwanga lino okusookera ddala kyetwagala kintu ekyo kyaki ekyokwongeza ssente naye nga bw'omanya ebintu by'eggwanga lino abasajja batula gye batudde ne bateesa ebintu byabwe ne babireeta ne babitukakaatikako naye we balemerako ne bagamba nti omuntu yenna agenda okuvuganya ku bwa pulezidenti asasule miliyoni 10 era etteeka ne baliyisa singa aba people power tujja kunga abannayuganda yonna gye bali tuyise obukko kyalo ku kyalo tusooke tusondere mu pulezidenti waffe Kyagulanyi kubanze ndabanga akakodyo akagala okukola ki ak'okumuggalirayo naye tusaba era twegayira bonna abalina obuyinza bagande kissa mu nkola.
Okay. Thank you, Obadoma. Kansabe ne Zulaika adde great one. Enga Shamim bwajja Zulaika kajira ddamu ekibuzo kya Beret.
Obukulembeze waffe Bobi Wine, His Excellence, in fact, bino babyogerako dda ne bawa ensi kiki ekigenda maaso. Beret zino tewali muntu asobola kuzibaninga because it is our beret. Bwe twambala beret yaffe terina muntu yenna gwefaanana nti nno oba efaananyi y'amagye because tulina people power badge tefaanagana na y'amagye oba nankofiira ndala yonna. Enkofiira zaffe ze twambala eza people power tekuliko erina coat of arm bali gye bagamba nti kabonero kaabwe. So enkofiira tuzambala era tukkirizibwa kubanga tewali teeka lyonna lye tebatumenye. Ogenze n'ongamba nti abamu bakwatibwa olw'enkofiira bakwatibwa yes naye tetunalabayo omuntu yenna gwe basalira musango nti mukyagize kubanga obadde oyambadde kakofiira and we are waiting for that. Bonna be bakwata babasibako misango mirala nti obadde otataganya obadde okola ki tebabagamba nti netukukyagize lwakwambala kakofiira. So if bavale bagamba nti bakibanize then bakwata abantu babagambe nti bakyagize kwambala beret then we shall start from there.
Okay, thank you very much. Like bana izine enkofiira zaffe tetwambala waliwo anayambadde enkofiira y'amagye simulabawo kubanga enkofiira z'amagye tumanyi bwe zifaanagana n'olwekyo gavumenti erekerawo okutiisatiisa abantu nabo beebeereremu. So munnamateeka waffe agenda kutunnyonnyola in case kikyali kirowoozo in case kiyita ne bayisa ne bongeza ebisale by'aba presidential aspirants ne babijja ku 10 million ne babiza ku 100 million ne ba member of parliament. Let's not forget the members of parliament as well, from 3 million to 10 million. What will happen? Shamim, introduce yourself.
Shamim, my name is President. I'm one of the lawyers for People Power. and also part of the Women League, People Power. The question that has been asked regarding hiking the nomination fees for parliamentarians and presidential candidates from 10 million for members of parliament and 100 million for presidential candidates. In case it passes into law, if we look at the legality of that issue, first and foremost, when it becomes law, it is law. The only procedure that we can use to actually challenge it is again through our courts, by challenging that law, or by again seeking an amendment, or having that law repealed. Since People Power Movement is a movement that is law-abiding, that believes in obeying the laws of the land, if it passes into law, we have to use the legal procedures to ensure that we challenge it. But for now, we still have the right to challenge or to forward our concerns and express ourselves through the different stakeholders challenging this bill actually. So for now, that is what I had, those proposals. Maybe in Uganda, amanya gange Shamim Malende, so mukubana mateka ba People Power, atenga era ndiyo mukubachala abali mu Women League. Ensonga embuziddwa ey'okwanisinga ekiteeso kino kifuuka etteeka. Ne bagamba nti members of parliament bave ku million 3, nomination fees bagenda ku million 10, ne president abiri sente zaaliko adde ku million 10, tunaakolawo ki? Legally speaking, atugenda mu galubindi z'amateeka, senga limala ne liyitanga etteeka nga emitendera gyonna giyitiddwamu mu butuufu bwakyo, oba nga waliwo emifu egikoleddwa mu kuteeka eri okuyita, ffe nga bannamateeka kye tukola tuba tuyina kukozesa amateeka gennyini okulaba nga tulwanyisa etteeka eri. Tukikola tutya? Tusobola okugenda mu kkooti ne tuchallenginga etteeka eri senga lirina akawaayiro ka constitution konna ke liba limenye, oba nga waliwo eddembe lyonna libagezaako okutuulira okulemesa bannayuganda okuexercisinga nga bakozesa etteeka eri. Ekyokubiri, tusobola okusiikinga nga tera tukozesa parliament yennyini okwamendinga etteeka eryo oba okuli bakiyita repeal, okuliggyawo tubeere nga tuddayo okubeera nga tulina eddembe lyaffe. Since People Power tukkiririza okubeera nti tugondera amateeka, senga liba liyise nga tteeka, tuba tulina kukozeseera makubo g'amateeka okulaba nti ensonga eyo naye essaawa eno terina bakufuuka tteeka, bikyali birowoozo, era tugenda kukwatagana ne ba stakeholders bonna nga mukama waffe bwayogedde okulaba nti nammwe nga mutaddeko eddoboozi lyammwe okulaba nti ebirowoozo bino ebiremesa bannayuganda tebiyita amateeka. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale.
Thank you, Sham. Senga tebikolebwa byetuusabye mu press conference eno, senga tebikolebwa ekisookera ddala abakyala fe abakyasinze obungi mu Uganda tugenda kwekolamu omulimu, tukunge buli mukyala ali eyo, kubanga si kiwanga waliwo omukyala ayagala bongeze ssente z'abakulembeze abeesimbyewo. Tugenda bakunga bonna kyalo ku kyalo, ate nga twatandika dde omulimu gw'okusimba emirandira mu Uganda. Kuno bajja tegeera People Power kyeri kasita bagezaako okuyiza emitteeka, so ekyo kireme kubeera omukulu ono saakutegedde manya Abbe Munywevu yabuze ekibuuzo nti tuwulire ennaku zino ebigenda maaso wakati wa Bobi Wine ne president yagaye nti Bobi Wine is an enemy of the state. What does that mean? Era tugenda tukyogereko ekintu ekyo ekisookera ddala. I just want to inform you that we all know who the real enemy of the state is, and that is the president, because he has been an enemy of the state in terms of the progress of women's rights in different capacities, in terms of our health sector, which is currently rotten, in terms of our education system, where we have so many people, young people, studying under trees, others even without a semblance of trees, under the disguise of UPE and other things. We have so many women that are still dying in this day and era. After 34 years, we still have women dying while giving birth. Recently, we just saw a woman giving birth in Amaingu on the roadside. So the current situation needs us to analyze who the actual enemy of the state is. Is it the person that has come out to highlight the challenges the country is facing? Is it the person who is speaking what the people want to
speaking the truth to power and informing Ugandans of the current ongoings? Is it the person who is fighting for people's rights, or is the person who is suppressing people's rights every day through the dictatorial methods, through the very repressive laws that are being passed all the time, including these electoral policies, reformations that are coming up, or the person who is already tear gassing Ugandans and brutalizing them, torturing them and beating them? So we need to identify who the real enemy of the state is. What the Secretary General is saying, that Bobi Wine needs to apologize to the country, to President Museveni particularly, on all the commotion that is arising in the country. I think the apology needs to come from the president himself. To Ugandans, especially to women of Uganda, because we have lost so many lives while giving birth in this country. We have lost so many children in different scenarios, in the different violent actions that we see that the regime is always expressing through the army and all the tear gas and all that. So I think we know who the real enemy of the state is, and we know who needs to apologize to Ugandans. Bannayuganda muleme kwerabira nti President Museveni kyagamba nti Honorable Kyagulanyi Bobi Wine ye mulabe w'eggwanga lino, wetaaga weebuuze gwali nti ani ddala mulabe w'eggwanga, omuntu akuba abantu baffe buli lunaku, asse atulugunya, atukuba tear gas n'emiggo ng'akozesa abakulembeze, ng'akozesa ebitongole by'okukuuma eddembe, amagye ne poliisi ebiteekeddwa otulabirira n'okulabirira ebintu nga byakozesa okututulugunya. Oyo y'aba ayagaliza Uganda ebirungi ebisingawo. So twetaaga tumanyi nti emyaka 34 Bobi Wine yakajja mu kifaananyi kino emyaka 3 gyokka, kwejja emyaka era y'abadde ayonoona Uganda. So twetaaga tumanye nti omuntu ddala omulabe w'eggwanga y'oyo atayagaliza balimi kukulaakulana, kubanga agaanye okubateerawo emiwaatwa mwe basobola okugaggawalira. Y'oyo atayagaliza abakazi kubeera mu ddembe lyalina okuzaalira mu ddembe, kubanga buli mukazi azaala kati 19 buli lunaku bwe bafa nga bazaala. Y'oyo atayagaliza abaana baffe basome ate nabo basobole okufuna emikisa emirungi. Bw'obateeka mu masomero ga UPE n'amalala agataliiwo, omubula ebikozesebwa ebiyitirivu obungi, atayagaliza n'abasomesa n'abasawo kweyagala, oyo ye mulabe w'eggwanga. So President Museveni yeetaaga okwetondera eggwanga lye. Emyaka 34 gyatuvuze bwatyo nga atuzza buzima begampa kyo tutwala mu maaso, ate nga awaayiriza abalala. Guno si muzannyo gwa kuwaayiriza, muzannyo gwa kutegeera biki ebiruma bannayuganda nange gye tugenda byadresinga. So n'olwekyo alekerawo okwesiba ku Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine azze buzi kwongera kugula amaaso g'abantu ku ebyo ready ebigenda maaso. Thank you. Opposition players, kino sagala kiwangaalako nnyo naye nkimanyi era ffenna tukimanyi nti people power tukolaganira wamu. Tetulina mulabi, tetulina gwe tusosola, tetulina gwe tusula bbali. People power si kibiina, people power mugendo. Kyekyo lwaki mulabamu aba movement, mulabamu aba DP, aba FDC, aba UPCJ, bonna mwebali n'abatalina bibiina nga president waffe Kyagulanyi nange kenyini kamwa kwogera. Sina kibiina kyeŋŋamba nti kino kye kintwala. Naye ffenna tutunuulira nkyukakyuka ya ggwanga lino. So buli muntu ayagala omugendo gw'okukyusa ebizibu bye tulina mu Uganda, yoyo gwe twaniriza people power. So twongera okubaaniriza bannayuganda mujje mutwegatteko. Tetuli mu nkaayana za bibiina, tuli mu lutalo lwa kununula ggwanga lino. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. Thank you for coming to our press conference. It has been good. We look forward to working with you more. Press conference yabadde y'abakazi. People power, oi! Women power, oi! Abasajja mwenna abatuweereddewo leero Chairman Nyanzi kulengeraawo ne ttiimu yaffe eno yonna amagye nga bwe gabaddewo. Mwebale okubeereramu abakyala. Olutalo nga luwedde tuliyambale.